The next speaker is a guy who really brought me to this stuff. I don't know how, I don't remember how, but somehow I ended up signing up to his email list at some point, and something like 2 years ago, or maybe less than that, I started to get emails from him in which he was saying that, you know, his life had changed completely, and then he sent out these videos where he was like filming himself walking on the street somewhere, just talking to the camera and explaining how, you know, the way he looks to life, the way he experienced life, is totally different to him. So obviously I got a bit curious, and I reached out to him, and we had a chat, and that was kind of one of the first things. That was before the workshop with Jamie, and that was one of the first times that I started to kind of get glimpses of what this was all about. And yeah, so it really started with Morten, who's our next speaker. So Morten he used to also organize a conference called the Morten Hake Summit, which he organized for 4 times, was it? Yeah, 4 times. And so he knows what organizing an event like this is all about. And they were a great success in Oslo, bringing, you know, people together, you know, just to hang out in a conversation. It wasn't about this understanding. It was about like dating and relationships, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so he organized 4 conferences. He's also founded the Trustbox, which is a membership site thing for anyone who wants to learn about this understanding more. So, and I wonder if there's anything else to say about the guy. I could just go on for him, because every time I meet him, every time I talk to him, it's just like the energy that this guy brings to the room. It's just one of a kind. So, yeah, without further ado, let's give it to Morten Hake.
Thank you for the introduction, Nico, and thank you for the invitation. And yeah, I've been nervous about this for a while. And just to jump on that wagon, my heart is beating fast as well right now. And it's very lit up over here. Yeah. Thus far, this has been incredible for me. And I was telling you earlier that it was like it's amazing how sometimes it seems like you're talking to me, or you, Jamie, or either one of you, like talking to, like, are you talking to me on stage, talking about my situation? Because like I've been like ruminating about this, and like, what am I gonna talk about, and then am I good enough for this, and like yada 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 yada, and then all of a sudden, you know, I remember that there is no, you know, place to be or way to be that'll have me come across a certain way that'll, you know, give me a good feeling like that. It's just, I'm gonna be on stage, and whatever pops up in my head is what I'm gonna share. So yeah, I have a tendency to go on tangents. So feel free to feel free to drop the expectation that I'm going to actually come full circle with any point at all. Yeah, because we were talking about that the other day, like, well, we were eating yesterday, I think. We were like, someone said, like, you almost like, we were talking about ADD or ADHD, the disorder. And we were agreeing that, you know, you could go to a doctor with the intention of getting that disorder on paper. And I'd probably be able to do that, you know. And I could go to a doctor with the intention of not getting that disorder. I'll probably get that done too. Because it's a label, it's a thought, life is unfolding now, and then I'm having an experience of it. I rest my case. Oh my God. Yeah. That's proper. Just, I watched yeah. I couldn't have planned this better. It really is, right? That's a crazy coincidence. Isn't it funny how deepening this understanding shows up in crazy coincidences and synchronicities and stuff? I was thinking about, I was sitting right there when you were talking, thinking about, did Jamie and, Chantel, have an introduction song, you know, and I started thinking about what song am I gonna have, and like listening, going in and out of actually tuning into listening to you, and then at the same time thinking I'm going to be on stage, you know, or I'm going to be on stage, yes, you know, or all going through all kinds of emotions, and part of it is like planning, like what am I going to say, how am I going to present it, and what kind of song am I going to have going up on stage. And I was thinking about, what about that song, please don't let me be misunderstood. You know that song? Because we've been joking and thinking about like, or saying the sentence like, misunderstand me correctly, blah, 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 because in essence, when taking something formless and kind of like trying to explain it into some kind of form, or taking, you know, this spiritual formless godness or universal mind or whatever, and it's coming through you and through words, in a way, we're always kind of like missing the target. You know, every word is kind of bullshit. Anyways, it isn't, but it is at the same time. So it's kind of like misunderstand me correctly has been a sentence that we in Team Trust, the homies, have been going to. So I thought about, that song could be awesome to have going on stage. What happens, we come back from the restaurant, I walk in here, and that specific song, out of all songs on this planet, is playing. And I was just like, did I tell Ken about what I thought about, or what just happened right now? And I asked, I don't know your name, but yeah. What's that? Antti. I asked Antti, did you put it on? He was just, no, just some Finnish guy just put it on his iPad. I'm like, oh, that's crazy, another synchronicity. And that seems to be the common theme, you know. Life starts taking care of you. I remember sharing some of these crazy synchronicities I started having after kind of realizing this thought-feeling connection. And I went to Jamie I don't know, remember if, I think it was on phone, Skype or in real life, and I was just like, did you hear about this and this happened, and at the same time this, like, it was so random, but it fits so perfectly into my life, and how is that even possible? And it's all that, that's a common theme after this understanding. It keeps happening. What's happening? And James like, yeah, right, life starts taking care of you. Isn't it crazy? And it's so true. It's so true, and I forget it. Every 5 minutes it feels like. Feels like I go in and out of dropping into whatever life hands me in that moment, and dropping out of it and trying to create something or change something or understand something or usually figure out something. I'm the kind of guy that I'll get to that as soon as I just get an overview of things and figure this out, then I will get to it. And I go around, ruminating and trying to figure out what kind of thought-created problem I have in mind. And then, before I know it, I'm in a completely different state. I'm in a completely different experience. Life has just unfolded in a new way, and I have a new experience of whatever is happening. And then I go and look back and go like, oh, I thought I had a problem a while back. Yeah, so that's kind of like how when I really first, I can tell you a little bit about me. I ran this conference called the Morten Hake Summit, and then Jamie spoke at it, the keynote speaker, the last speaker. I was really ready to learn some NLP. And then he spoke, and I was sitting in the back of the room, just listening and not understanding anything, why I was feeling so good, because I was going in and out, just sitting there and enjoying it, and then jumping out and thinking well, this is nothing new. I've been saying for years that a circumstance or a situation is just a situation. It's only until you label it that it gives meaning. That's been a go-to sentence of mine on stage for years. So I couldn't understand what happened, and I saw things so much clearer. How my kind of resonating, or what's it called, my life situation. I saw just, what's that?
Resonating.
Yeah, just I saw my life situation and where I was and where I wanted to be, and it was all very clear to me while Jamie was speaking. So it came natural for both me and Jamie to go okay, let's do a workshop of this. We have 100 people here, we promote a workshop, and filled up the room. And then at the workshop, I was sitting there with my notebook for the first 3 hours, scribbling down everything that I could get on paper, because I was, I'd learned that take notes, write down everything, take massive action, do this and this, and speed of implementation, and just run, and then you will be happy. So I was, I was dedicated. It was good intention, I was sitting there what's your point, Jamie? What's the essence here? What do you what do I need to do? What's the thing? And I was sitting the first hour, second hour, third hour, and I just gave up. I just gave up. I threw the pen and paper, and then I don't know, maybe 10 minutes to half an hour, all of a sudden it just kaboom! I was literally standing up and like had to move. I'm the kind of guy who loves to move and dance, and like I express in movement, and I just like stood up and to me it was when, because Jamie had been saying, you know, a gazillion times, you're feeling, you're thinking, and I was just like, yeah, duh. And that's what I've been saying. It's nothing new here. But it was, for me, it clicked when I understood what thought meant to Jamie, or what he was, you know, pointing towards, and kind of like this, that we're both creating and perceiving our experience in the moment, which means now. And now. And now. And then I was just like, dang, well, now? Creating and kind of like perceiving with my senses this entire, like every single, and it's what's crazy about the moment is that it's not like a movie film with like frames. It's kind of a single big fleeting moment. It's happening right now, and this is being created from something formless or some, you know, once I say something formless, that in itself is a crazy sentence to say, because we don't have the imaginary capacity to even imagine something formless. Like, we don't understand nothing. And kind of like and understanding that on a fundamental level is just does, you know, I'm getting goosebumps saying it. It's just like, it does all the difference for me. It's like, okay, I will never understand it. I will never know in that kind of intellectual way. It's okay all of a sudden. That's okay, because, you know, when you're on it, when you're in the flow, whenever, or actually whenever, life's going to give you exactly what you need in any given moment. From that whateverness. And then, you know, kind of like we have an experience of it, and then we start mapping it out after the fact. You know, we start like, oh, I was like, especially last night, you know, I was thinking a lot about this. And then, you know, sometimes I bite my nails, and like, and sometimes I get really like confident, like, yeah, I'm the man. And then in the next second, I'm like, oh damn, I'm not the man. And it goes like that, you know, it goes like that. And whilst before, I would have, if this is a road, and it's a highway of thoughts, or it's a highway of experiences, sensations, whatever. And there's cars, you know, there's always Volvos, Volkswagen, you know, some Saabs. But all of a sudden there's a, you know, a fucking Coca-Cola truck coming. A big ass Coca-Cola, or that's the way it seems to me, you know. A big ass Coca-Cola truck. And I think, oh, this Coca-Cola truck is taking all this is very intense, it feels very intense, and therefore it must be very important, and I have to, you know, think about it and ruminate about it and figure it out and fix that, solve that problem or solve that whatever reason the Coca-Cola truck showed up. I don't even like cola, and all of a sudden I have to, fucking change wheels and drink Coke and stimulate that center of my brain, which I don't even like, But when realizing that it's all part of it's all part of the experience, Cars comes and they go. If you don't, the Coca-Cola car can leave if it's allowed to, You don't have to engage in it. You can just leave it alone. Leave the self-correcting system alone. Leave nature alone. Like, whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen, which also means that whenever I'm taking a ride in the Coca-Cola car, that's okay too, I was watching a video with you and Michael, and you were talking about that you had an experience of crying, but also like having this okayness about crying. I'm taking words in your mouth or whatever, but that's what I got out of it. And I was sitting and listening to that in my kitchen with my morning coffee, enjoying myself. And then in a split second, I started crying. And I looked at so I did that, and that was okay. And then, split second later, I don't remember if it was 2 minutes or 10 minutes, but then later, I had a completely different experience. And whilst before, that would have been a huge problem for me. That would have been a thing that was not okay to do for a guy like me, or whatever. So it's... yeah, it's really amazing. Like, it's really amazing. It's amazing how this understanding has let me experience a range of emotions, a range of experiences. And be okay with it, like kind of hit the ground running, if that makes sense. I had a while back, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago-ish, I had some kind of spiritual experience related to disappointment. I'm gonna go very much into it, but I had an event which I realized that I decided not to do something that I thought I wanted to do, and then I felt disappointed about myself, which has been a thing that I've been not okay with at all. I've always I don't know, I haven't been telling you my story, so you don't know, but ever since 2007, I dropped out of college and joined this 6-month very, very intensive coaching program where everything was really like, Tony Robbins-ish. And I've been on that high, a lot. I've been very like... so along with that, for me, came a rejection of disappointment. And I have big dreams, I have crazy big dreams, which I'm usually hold back telling people just because they're silly, or I think they're silly sometimes. But that's, part of me, and then having that crazy craving for the grass on the other side. But this understanding kind of gave me a disappointment, which I in time realized was a gift. Because here's the thing, I went almost crazy and I really hit the ground. It was like a tough time for me. but I hit the ground running. And I hit the ground walking or whatever. It was like that crazy experience gave me a new beginning, a new start, and a drop of something old. It dropped the idea that I needed anything in order to be good enough, to have a good time, to feel good, to be happy, or to just and then again at my birthday I got that confirmation when you guys so they wrote like this whole post-it note, 100 reasons why we love you on post-it notes, which is like I don't even know how to react on that. That's just like, but again I got a confirmation that I'm enough, and that goes for everyone. That's it. Like I don't even need to talk right now. To be honest, I can just feel that you guys accept me for me, and like that's the vibe I get from this room this first half day. Yeah, so that's some of the implications or some of the experiences I've had on this journey of exploring these principles. It's crazy. What's crazy? So point being with that long story about me being crazy and all that is that I can really hit the wall. I can really like, whoo. It was like that. It was like a part of me had been waiting for that for years. It was like boom, and at the same time, or not at the same time, but like in a very short period of time, bounce back up, like realize again that I was really buying into my thinking properly. Like I was doing a good job misunderstanding where my feelings were coming from for a long time. Good job, Morten. But once I realized it just it's 180 degrees. I had to flip my entire business in 180 degrees after Jamie spoke at my conference. Thanks a lot, Jamie. Simply, but yeah, there are, and I have my ways of coping with things. I also like to argue, like you said earlier, or like I tend to I'm passionate about things. So and again, when I'm angry or frustrated, it seems to me that I'm extra right when I'm actually in fact extra wrong, and then it goes from there. Again, what I think is very fascinating is this ever changing of moments, like this throughout the last 30 minutes. There's always new experiences. So I want to test something out. It's just, if we all, in a while, soon, everyone close our eyes for 1 minute, and then I'm not going to talk, and then we can just see if we can notice whatever is happening in us during that minute, and just notice that it might not, I'm not gonna tell you what you notice, so let's just do that. Does someone have a timer? Or I can just, whatever. Yeah. Anyone want to share? No pressure. Yeah.
I think it felt really nice. I haven't sat in complete silence in forever. I can't remember the last time. I just couldn't think of anything.
Nice. All right. What I wanted to show was how this is, how life happens in life is unfolding just like nature. And then we have an experience of it. And I wanted to talk a little bit about nature. Like if we, our nails grow with no effort, and our heart beats with no effort. You don't have to do anything to make sure that your nails grow, your hair grow, or your heart is beating. That's just part of you, just part of life, part of nature. You are part of nature. You are nature. You came from the ether, I don't know, from nothing and then to something. It's magic. Like you're magic. You're ballin'. You're already good. You're already what you're seeking. I was going to talk about seeing the world through the eyes of a child. I don't know if I ever even touched upon that, but I feel like a child, so I guess that will do. That's been an implication though, since seeing the magic trick of life. All of a sudden it doesn't when I'm not busy trying to make myself happy all the time, then I'm free to do anything, I've been juggling, I haven't been dancing as much as I have been the last 2 years that I have been dancing in my entire life. All of a sudden I feel like a good dancer, which hasn't been part of my life at all. I've always felt awkward on the dance floor. Now I just don't give a fuck. Because I literally don't. Like, I don't have any reason to, And I'm not bothered by it anymore. It doesn't make sense for me to bother myself and dance at the same time. I can just dance, for example. And, I'm picking up drawing, and we're writing lyrics, making music, rapping all of a sudden, just picking up on different hobbies and projects, and it's so much more effortless, it's so much more effortless, yeah. It just comes to me as an invitation. It's like, oh, you feel free to dance now, or feel free to go to the park and do nothing all day. And then, we are living now, right? I can go to the park tomorrow, but tomorrow will also be now when tomorrow comes. So it's this now that's always like boggling my mind. We joke sometimes about when people ask, how are you? I go like, do you mean now or now? He points towards that thing, like, yeah. Not to mention my relationship with my family. I've always had I also had been having like my family history as a justified reason to struggle. It's been like it's been a thing. It's been like, okay, I always got my struggle, got my struggle, yeah, got my struggle. Have some juice to talk about when people ask, or when I want, whatever. And then all of a sudden, when realizing, oh, struggling, it just means that I have struggle thinking right now. You know, I'm experiencing struggling right now, or whatever, and it passes. That's a cool thing to know, you know. Jamie was writing up what was it called? Something you can always hang your coat on. That's a cool thing to know as well. It'll pass. Whatever kind of negative experience you're experiencing, it's not gonna last. Nature has that self-healing ability, and you're part of it. If you're human, it will pass. Yes, my relationship with my family has just been when I, for me, realized this. I started seeing it in other people. All of a sudden, I started listening in a different way. I started showing up in a different way. I started being present in a different way, kind of. It's not that I wasn't present before. You know, I was having conversations and having a good time and whatnot. Same guy. It's just that I was kind of like, now I kind of, and it doesn't make sense to me to engage in, you know, in this outside-in paradigm. It doesn't make sense to me to engage in that kind of conversations a lot, just because I'll just like engage in a different vibe of that conversation. You know, I'll point it in a different direction, or I'll, you know, it just comes natural. The focus has naturally changed. There is no like, we were talking about this while being on the restaurant. Like Nico said, like, the crazy part is that someone can have a shit time being here, and the next week can go like, aha, and which is true, because this insights always comes from yourself. There's no. And how you can see that is because when you have a true epiphany, or a true like light bulb moment, that's because you know it's true in that moment, in that split second. You know it's true. It doesn't have to go through any filters from the outside. It's not like that at all. It's just like, and in that moment you already know. Which relates to what Nico said, because, you know, there's nothing to do in order to understand anything here. Matter of fact is that you actually already understand it, and you might not remember it, or you might not see it right now, you know, or you might. Which puts me all the way back to misunderstand me correctly. Because this little flesh vehicle right here doesn't get it, you know? I don't understand this. Or this ego, this flesh vehicle, this head, this intellectual dude, don't, you know, I don't know, you know, it's like, I don't know, and it's, so that's why we're always pointing towards this feeling, or I call it a vibe. It's whatever's in this room right now that we can't touch. Or, you know, it's whatever having you, it's intuition or creativity, or it can take any form. And it takes any form, every moment. whatever form that's fitting for you. But I sometimes, a lot of times don't see that. I don't understand all the time that this is best for me now. And I go engage with Coca-Cola truck because I think I need to in order to feel a certain way, in order to feel a certain way. It's a paradigm shift. I think we're going to be sitting somewhere 5, 10, 20 years from now and look back and laugh at the times that we thought that we felt a teddy bear or that we felt anything other than thought taking form. But that's the cool thing, we want to buy into this illusion. Otherwise we wouldn't have sex. If we didn't buy into the idea that you're feeling something from the outside. That's part of it, It's me personally, I go in and out of this all the time, including while being on, including now. In and out of kind of inside out, outside in, whatever, Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I need to say this, or I need to na. And a lot of times it's like, oh, and whatever. But that's the beauty of it all. Just like I talked about earlier, I'm free. It's more of understanding that all of the cars are okay. All of the cars is part of this entire experience of life. It's just, again, life taking form, moment to moment, and we have an experience of it. We are both generating and perceiving our experience in the moment. It's funny, we're playing with the idea of making, we started slowly to make some music lately. And and it's funny how every time we're talking about making music, it's so easy to talk ourselves into a corner. Whilst other times when we're just jumping on the idea from inspiration, when inspiration arises, and we just boom, and then start singing or playing or recording it or writing. It's flowing. It's almost I feel like life is giving us invitations of coolness in different ways. And then we can either, run with the idea or think our way out of it. Which I also feel is correlated, I always feel sometimes when talking about this and sharing this, is I'm trying to take this formless concept, and then for every word I say, it's I'm packing in a package or some kind of box of form in words, and all of a sudden I'm oh shit, what am I saying? All of a sudden I'm saying it's the box. Yeah, so it goes and then it drops back into clarity, and start explaining it again, and like all of a sudden I know for every sentence I say there can be, you know, it can be misunderstood. My words is just words. I could speak Arabic or Swahili, Jina Lakwanani, and you know it would be the same. It's like we're being thunk. And it almost seems too good to be true sometimes. So easy, like you don't have to do anything to feel good. Like it just comes to you. Well, who's the guy who's giving you all that opportunities? And they start, you know, philosophizing, like thinking about that. And it's almost too good to be true, but it is really that easy. In my words, I say, you know, nature is happening, life is unfolding, nowness is now. We have a human experience of this. The human experience consists of 5 senses, a spectrum of color, you know, all that. If we all were chameleons, we would have had a completely different experience of life taking form. The human experience includes whatever we're going through, which also means that life will always guide us back to tranquility. That's our default. Our default setting is powerful beyond measure. Our default setting is just, I don't know, call it neutrality. Just neutral, or just like open for anything, confident. I've been trying to be confident a lot, which is kind of hard because you're busy trying. And, you know, whenever, well, it's other time, you know, just being. I am. Word. I am confident or creative, whatever needs to be in that specific moment. We're always, I think it's either, well, I don't know who I heard this from, but maybe Jamie. It's so, like we're always, we cannot not do our best in every moment. In any given moment, we're always doing the best we can with the information at hand. And we cannot not do that, so we're already good. Done. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I'm not the founder of the Trust Box. That's the Trust team, all of us. Just wanted to get that straight. Yeah, and also we have this Trust Box membership that we have a webinar every Sunday, and we want to invite as many of you guys that want to join that to be a part of that. So we have these cards. So if you want to join that, you can come to us. Thank you for the opportunity, Nico, and thank you everyone for wanting to listen.